Hi, this is Christine at Christine's Craft Table. I thought I should give you a brief explanation about my background today. So, I have been experimenting with the green screen and I'm still refining that process. So, after doing all my filming today, I realized that the green on my granny square was being modified because of my green screen. It actually turned it to an avocado color, which did not go with my granny square at all. So I thought, what can I do to show you the real color? Because I'm constantly holding up this square throughout my whole crocheting session with you. So my bright idea was to put the ball of yarn as my background. Hence, that is why you see a giant spring green wormhole behind me as I crochet today. Hope you don't mind that, and I will try and improve my filming skills with the green screen going forward. But I just wanted to explain why there's a big circle of green snakes behind me today. And aside from that, I hope you enjoy our time together. And just ignore that avocado color and look at the color around me. That's the real color that I used. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Well, actually, it is 12:07 my time on Tuesday. And I thought I would sit here and crochet with you for a bit. Well, for about an hour, I guess. That's my goal. And welcome to Christine's Crocheting, Episode 2. Or Crocheting with Christine, Episode 2. The experiment continues. First, I'll tell you what I'm working on. So I envision this like if any of you have ever participated in a crochet group and you're all sitting around a table and just chatting. Granted, I'm the only one chatting, I realize that, but feel free to put in the comments what you are working on if you chose to sit with me and crochet for an hour, and comment on anything I say too. And let's see if we can have some fun with this. So I'll tell you what I'm working on. This is my square for Judy's Mal 2024. I think that's what it's called. I'll correct that if I need to in the description box or somewhere around here later. Anyway, Judy puts up a picture of a bird every month, and that is our inspiration, and we can make anything we want to using those colors. And so I'll show you a picture of the bird also. And these are the colors that I chose. Most of this is Loops and Threads, Comfy Loops and Threads Soft Classic. There's one of the ball bands. I discovered this not too long ago, and I really love it. It is a value yarn, 100% acrylic, and it's very squishy. It's got some good bulk to it. It's a number 4 weight, so it's a thick number 4, I would say, because I have a little bit of, this is Hobby Lobby, I love this yarn, and you can see the difference between the loops and threads on the bottom, the green, and the Hobby Lobby and the loops and thread definitely has more bulk to it. It's also more tightly wound. I don't know if this is just because this is a Hobby Lobby print version or what, but I can see in these two threads at least that the loops and threads is definitely more solid. And that's another thing I love about it. In general, it does not split on you. So I can use it with my favorite hook, which is my Prem hook. I'm using a small one, 4.5 millimeter, because I wanted to make a granny square with a little more rounds to it and not get too big. My goal is 10 by 10 after I block them. I make a square every month for Judy's challenge, and then at the end of the year I will put them together in a blanket, and hopefully it'll be pretty. It's gonna have a lot of bright colors because Judy's theme this year is tropical birds, not just birds, so they tend to have a lot of color going on. This month, believe it or not, was one of the tamer months so far. So I've got white and pink. The white is actually Red Heart Super Saver. Pink and then amethyst are both loops and threads, soft classic, acrylic. And then the green is Super Saver, spring green, I think is the color. And then back to amethyst and pink. I will finish off with a row of white and a border in black. I'm bordering each row in black for continuity. And I'm not sure if I'll fill in, like I'll connect them with black or connect them with another color. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. But it will definitely be a neutral color with all this color going on in the squares. I don't want the blankets to be, or the blanket to be too blinding. I'll try and look up a little more today. I noticed in my first version that, or my first episode, I think about 80% of the time I was looking down. But that's what you do in a crochet group, right? I mean, you don't sit there looking at each other the whole time. Everybody's working on their piece, right? So, can you tell I miss the camaraderie of working with others? Although anybody who's worked in a group knows, like me, that they are not your most productive sessions because you end up talking, and with crochet, you've got to concentrate at least a little bit. So I usually found that I did not get a lot done in the group. But it was encouragement, to proceed on, to finish my project, to bring in my finished projects, to show. Not to show off, to show. And of course, like I've said before, we worked on things to donate as well. Like we would all make hats and scarves and baby booties and baby items to donate. The hats and scarves went to homeless or food pantries or organizations that minister to the homeless. And then the baby booties and baby items would go to a local pregnancy center that ministered to women who are pregnant. My corners are 3 doubles and 2 chains. Did I tell you the pattern? This is the willow square. This is actually the second month I used it. I used it for February as well, but I really like it. I will probably alternate between this and a flower pattern because those are my favorites. Although last month I did a yarn's caught up. Last month I did a half spiked granny, and that worked really well with all the color changes. Two, three. So yeah, this is a willow square, and I changed colors every round. I learned this from Adore Kriya Crochet. She's on YouTube, and she has a lot of granny squares that I like. Hers actually finished with the purple round, and then I need it to be slightly bigger, so I'm adding 2 rows of double crochet to make it the 10 inches that I want. I only came up with 10 inches because I think that's how big my January square came out to be. So I said, okay, I'll go with that. So I just gave my dogs their favorite chew, so they will be busy for a little while at least. We always give them their dog chew at the same time every day, and they are like our little clocks. They will let us know if the hour has passed, if the minute has passed. Generally, what they try and do is move up the time. They'll start about a half hour early, an hour early to campaign for it. So I tried to angle the camera so you could see what I was doing today, rather than just seeing me looking down. I have to hold it way up here, which is a little unnatural. Maybe I need to get one of those pillows like Dana's Wanderlust Crochet has. She got herself a, what do you call it? A breastfeeding pillow. They sell them on Amazon, I guess, and it kind of wraps around you. And she says it's the perfect rest for her arms while she crochets. Guess I could probably just get a regular pillow as well. I am also experimenting with a green screen. So the reason for that is you don't have to see my ugly gray wall. Well, I mean, it's not ugly as gray walls go, but it's empty. And we have a thing around here about hanging things on the walls, so we don't hang very much on the walls. Anyway, It's one less thing if you have to move, okay? You know, having to fill in all those holes. So we've moved a lot in our marriage, in our life. And it's just one more thing, one more hassle to have to clean up the walls. So the theory is that if we don't hang much, moving will be that much easier. And that's okay. I am not hung up on seeing things on the wall or decorating or stuff like that. So it's generally not a problem unless you're on YouTube and people don't like seeing a plain gray wall behind you. And I don't really want to have a yarn wall. I don't like having my yarn out to gather dust or whatever. So that's the reason for the green screen. So now I can put behind me whatever I want. I love trees and sky, so you may see some of that. The fall leaves, the spring leaves. Don't you love that about if you live in an area where you have seasons? We live in the South, and oh my goodness, springtime is glorious when everything goes from brown to green. And it's not just one shade of green, it's every conceivable shade of green you could think of. I love it. When we moved from California to Tennessee, the thing that struck me the most was the size of the trees. You do not have trees this tall in California. You just don't. I don't know why, but the trees in Tennessee are huge. Well, Kentucky as well. I think maybe a lot of these southern states, maybe because they're older, so the trees are older. And they're right up next to the houses. That was one of the things that amazed me, is you have these trees that are 3-4 times the height of a house right next to the house. And they don't fall down. I mean, sometimes they fall, but not often. Oh my goodness, we've lived here quite a while now. Over a decade. Going on 2, actually. In Tennessee and Kentucky. And I don't know, I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen a tree fall and do damage on a house. And we've got tornadoes out here, you know. Yeah. So, spring. So I just love spring out here. It's just, and then the fall is equally, I don't know which is my favorite, spring or fall, because fall, when all those trees turn all those different colors, my favorite is the golden yellow. Oh my goodness, those giant trees full of these golden leaves. It's just glorious, absolutely glorious. I love it. So I have a few pictures of those. Granted, a picture is not as good as the real thing, but it's a nice reminder of what I saw. And, Lord willing, what I will see again. Unless he comes before then, which is also fine by me. Let's see. I am at the end of my corner. And I started with a chain 3. So I will slip stitch 1, 2 into the 3rd chain. And be done with that round. I have to say, even though I'm not into the really cold weather, the winters are pretty too. When you get all that snow. We don't get a lot of snow in Kentucky, but every once in a while we'll get enough to cover everything. The dogs love it. Well, when we had Chihuahuas, they didn't love it so much. Probably because their belly was dragging along the snow when they went outside. But the bigger dogs that we have now, oh my goodness, they just, one of them goes around hopping like a deer or like a giant bunny rabbit. He loves the snow. I found it so interesting. The yard we had in Tennessee was pretty big, and after the first snow with these dogs that we have now, their footprints covered every inch of that yard. I mean, you can tell because you could see their footprints in the snow. And I thought to myself, these dogs really cover the yard. I mean, what's the word? You know, what Christopher Columbus was. Explore. They explore every inch of the yard. I thought that was funny. I don't know why. I just got a kick out of that. Their footprints were everywhere. I am sewing in my first tail from starting out because I've just been starting with a slip stitch. And as I keep working on the other colors, those slip stitches get a little loose. So I've been stopping and at least sewing in that end, if not both of them, so that it stays secure. And recently I started using a sharp needle to sew in ends because I like the way that it kind of pierces through the other strands, so it seems to give you a much nicer, much more secure sewing in of the end. I like that. I got that tip from somebody on YouTube. I can't remember who right now. I'll actually put a link to her. I did subscribe to her channel, and she is a long time crocheter, and she had a video like one of those 10 tips to make your crochet better or something like that, and that was one of the tips, to use a sharp. I think she started out with the blunt tip to get like the first, especially if you're doing this end that's right on the chain, you want to work it in nicely to hide it, but then when you continue sewing it in, switch to a sharp. Was that her that told me that? Somebody told me that. Okay, so there's my pink. That's a row of pink. I'm gonna measure it to see how big I am. Here we are at 8.5. So that's cool. Now we will go to white. Have all my supplies nearby, which is what you would do if you were at a sewing group, right? I tried to mimic a sewing group. I have my trusty yarn stand under the desk here. I just have a tiny bit of my skein left, so it's a little bit of a challenge loading it onto these stands. It's hard to find the middle anymore. Okay, here we are, white. And we'll start in a corner. Let's do this corner. Okay, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And double. Double. Chain 2. And 3 more doubles. So if you want to get involved in Judy's monthly Mal, I'll leave a link for it. It's a lot of fun. And you don't have to do anything really complicated. Like me, I'm doing my granny squares. She gives out a prize at the end of every month. She puts all the names on a wheel of everybody who has sent her in a picture by the deadline of whatever they made. And then she spins it. And the winner will get, lately it's been a cake of yarn, like one of those yarn art, huge fingering weight skein or cakes of yarn. Like they're big enough to make a shawl, have something like 800 to 1,000 yards on them. So that's cool. No, I have not won any. I won one of her drawings in December when she gave away some beautiful Noro yarn. I have a video about a shawl or a wrap I made with that, and it was gorgeous. I love Noro yarn after that. But do you know that Noro yarn seldom goes on any deep sales? I think the most I've seen is maybe 20% off on little knits. But 20% off a $40, $42 cake is still pretty rich for my blood. So I will wait patiently for my next Noro yarn, if ever. And I remind myself that I have a closet full of yarn in which to play with. Yarn that makes beautiful things, even if it is value yarn. And I always remember how creative Grandma, Glenda, she says she has many Afghans that she made 20, 30 years ago, or 10 years ago, with Red Heart Super Saver, and they're still in wonderful condition. So there's that. Also, you're not going to make an Afghan with Noro yarn. I mean, seriously, who's going to dry flat an Afghan? So the value yarns have their purpose for sure. And I am enjoying making Afghans. As I've said before, my favorites are the square patterns, or I've only done one really, putting together grannies, but I like the concept of, actually two. I like the concept of working a small square, feeling the sense of accomplishment, and then moving on to another. Even if you're using the same pattern for each of them, it's just, it doesn't seem so daunting as the row after row after row of the traditional type blankets. I don't know why I always get paralyzed when I get to a corner. Okay, what do I do? Three, chain two, and three, double crochets. Speaking of row by row blankets, I will stop and show you. I'm so proud. Okay, I know I have a pet peeve myself about people who show off blankets and say they're complete, and there's all these ends hanging off, and that is exactly what I'm going to show you. So I'm not saying it's complete, it's 99% complete. But I was working on this in our episode 1. Oops. So I want to show you my progress. Because I'm done. Okay, I'm not done. I'm almost done. I'm done with the border. Isn't that pretty? Let me show you up close. It's my camel stitch border. I did 4 rows. And that's the blanket. I haven't measured it yet. I'll probably cover it in a video in more detail later on. But it is so pretty. And it's squishy and cuddly. And yes, there are myriad ends hanging off that need to be woven in. But one thing about using the sharp to weave in ends is the needle is much thinner, so it's kind of hard on your fingers after a while. You can't sew in 100 ends all at one time because, well, my finger gets sore. So I'm so happy to be so close to finished on that. My deadline for that is April 30th, which is coming up very quickly. And then I will send a picture of that to Jax at Creations by Jax to let her know that I completed her challenge for the month of Bod with my beautiful, peaceful lullaby blankets. with the modified border. I didn't want to do another session of crocheting with Christine, working on the exact same thing. So I was determined to finish that up. And if I finish the square, I'll go back to weaving in the ends, since I have it sitting right next to me. So I participated in a live with VJ. Oh my goodness, I don't remember the full name of her channel. VJ Crochets. I'll add it to the description box. But she's a super sweet lady. She has a live on, I guess yesterday was Makealong Mondays. You just laugh a lot. And I actually got a lot of crocheting done during that. I was working on my blanket. I was, I guess, more of a lurker yesterday than a chatter. I did say a few things, but not too much. She was learning a new streaming software, and I was trying to figure out if she was showing her video backwards or not for half the session, but it was fun anyway. Okay. One, two, three doubles, two chains, three doubles. So I really like her lives. She keeps it very lively. And it was funny. She said, because there were some new people in the chat, and they were kind of giving them the scoop, and she said, you don't even need to be crocheting to talk here. We invariably end up talking about food. And sure enough, they did. Between trying to figure out if she was backwards or not. Honestly, it did not bother me one way or the other. She wasn't showing words on the screen. She was just sitting in a room in front of a door and something hanging. I think it was a blanket or something. But they just had to get it right. Who else did I watch yesterday? Nancy at She's Got Yarn. I watched her bag up some yarn. And I just barely got into 2 giveaways, neither of which I won. But so there was one I was watching over several days. And that was one of her surprise giveaways at the end. So, and I knew she had a giveaway at the end. I think she told us in the previous video that her video called Part 2 was going to have a giveaway. But then she said, like probably 2/3 way through the video, oh, and I'll choose a winner on Monday. And it was already Monday. And I said, oh no. But it was early. It was like before noon, I think. So I quickly entered a comment, even though I wasn't finished watching the video. I disclosed in my comment I wasn't quite finished with the video, and then I kept watching to see all the wonderful yarn she gave away. She had 2 winners, and you had the choice between yarn and a set of dots hooks. So that was fun. She said she's going to be doing a giveaway once a week now, at least for a while, so you may want to catch her channel if you're interested in a giveaway. Well, that's looking pretty, don't you think? I like the white on the ends. Kind of gives it some structure or something. Nice frame. I should try that African flower next month. I think that's a pretty one too. There is a house along a street that I travel quite often, and they have these giant pansies that bloom every spring. I mean, they are huge. You know what a little pansy looks like, right? It's got like 4 petals, and they're always very pretty colors, bright purples and yellows and whites. And so I never knew there was a thing called a giant pansy until I drove by this house, and it's a 1-lane road. I mean, you have 1 lane going this way and 1 lane coming this way, so you've got to be paying attention. And that house is so distracting because it's right on the street where she's got those pansies. And I always want to look at them instead of the road. They are so pretty. But they're not there. It looks like she dug them up or something this spring. So I'm so disappointed. I hope she puts them back. Plant some more. I say she, it could be he. I don't know why I assume it's a woman that planted them. Shame on me. Most of the gardeners out there are men. I guess it's a thing. It's tradition that women plant gardens with pretty flowers. And the daffodils. Oh, how I love the daffodils when they pop up every spring. And they're really random around here. Like, people don't plant them. They just pop up wherever they want. Like a weed, but they're not a weed. They're gorgeous. So you get these little clumps of daffodils that pop up. Most of them are yellow, sometimes white. So pretty. And I was always wishing that we would get some popping up in our yard at some point, because I don't plant flowers because I can't take care of them. My knees are in horrible shape and I cannot kneel. So yes, I've been told I need knee replacements, but I'm not interested. So I just don't kneel. Yeah. Okay. Actually, it was 1 knee replacement, and it was about 20 years ago. I got an injection of something called, I think it was called Synvisc, and it worked really nicely because he said I had no cartilage left on one of my knees. It was only supposed to last like 6 months, and here I am 20 years later. didn't last that long, but I monitor them. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2. I found actually somebody told me about her. Her website's called Faithful Workouts, and she has free workout videos, and a lot of them are where she has a good many of every kind, but she has a lot of chair workouts, and you can sit in a chair and work out. I understand many will say, well, that's not a workout, but for me, I can get a good workout. She moves every muscle you possibly could. Okay, I have one more row of black, and I think I just have enough time to get that. Oh, better measure. Anyway, oh, it's gonna be close. We're already at 10. I really want that row of black though. It's just single crochet, so it'll probably be okay. I have my huge Crafter's Secret Big Idea. This is very soft. This is from Hobby Lobby. One of those all-purpose value yarns. Comes with 810 yards. Granted, it's $11.99, but I always get it on the 30% off week, which makes it very reasonable for that amount of yarn. I need to get the ball band off, or the band off. And load her on the stand. Okay. And we're off to the races. We will do well, this is sad. I just consulted my pattern, and this is what happens when I don't look at my pattern. I make mistakes. I'm so sad. Well, it's not the end of the world, but I have to undo my white row because this was supposed to be a window row. And I realize I could leave it like it is, but I don't want to. And I can't fit in another row to do that window row before I do my single crochet, because I'm just about already at 10 inches. So, guess what we get to do? So sad. Well, at least I know I have enough yarn, because the windows won't take as much yarn as a double crochet in every stitch. all my work. This is what happens when you don't consult your pattern. You get overconfident. You think you know what you're doing, even though you don't. Okay. We will begin row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 again. Oh, fun, fun. It is fun, actually. Now let me check my pattern one more. Okay, I'm back. Get rid of that glare. Okay. Had to consult my pattern. But I also took the opportunity to try out that hack for the prim hook where you rub a used dryer sheet on it to see if it will glide more easily, because it tends to be catching on my Red Heart Super Saver. And it did help, noticeably. I'm just thinking I will probably need to do that repeatedly, because it will, I expect it will rub off after, or it will, you know, whatever it does to it will rub off on the yarn or wear out and need to be done again. But that's okay. I think I will grab a dryer sheet. I think I'll try an unused dryer sheet and keep that handy and see how that works. So this is what my row should be looking like. Chain 2, 3 double crochets in the corner. My dog is not a fan of the green screen. Well, you can't please everyone. Chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. I'll move it in a minute. He'll be fine. One of our dogs is, I don't know, he's got some emotional issues. He doesn't like sudden noises. He doesn't like anything new in the space that he's used to. Like if we move the furniture around, he's kind of not happy for a while. If I put up a big green screen, he's not thrilled. Oh, he hates the ironing board. If I start ironing, he's gone. Well, he can deal with the ironing board being in the room, but if I move it, he's got to clear the room while I move it. Doesn't like the broom. But he's so lovable. I'll deal with his eccentricities. Oh, bummer. That one, that row was not the right number of stitches. So I can either skip 2 stitches or I think I'll skip 2 stitches because I don't want to make 2 posts right next to each other before the corner. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, I should have chained 2, right? We're almost done with this. It's not going to make a difference. 1, 2, 3. We just have a little bit of time left, I think. Oops, I didn't skip a space. I think I'm needing a break here. Chain 1. The prodigal has returned. Okay. Okay, I think I will call it a day for Crocheting with Christine episode 2. And here's how far we got because of the great frogging incident. And I will show you the completed square next time I see you, or at some future point. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. And hope you enjoyed our little crochet group. Bye for now.